Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to this playthrough of Pokemon Sword and Shield where we are trying to climb mid-tier with our favorite Pokemon, primarily Latias, Scizor, and Swampert. I'm happy that I can finally make a team that has my favorite Pokemon on it. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about what makes this team work as we battle. Hopefully we'll get some good wins today. Oops. Okay. Alright, we already found a trainer. That's great. Let's see if we can get some good wins today. This is the highest I've ever gotten in ranked before. And we're definitely seeing a lot of common threats here. We've got Dracovish, Hippowdon, Lugia, which is actually relatively uncommon. I bet I know what that Lugia is going to do. It's probably their Dynamax lead. Amoonguss is unfortunately very common. But I'm not too nervous about Lugia. In fact, I'm rather not nervous about Lugia at all. I'll go ahead and start with our regular strategy, and I'll have Scizor bring up the rear. Obviously, Rotom's a bit of a problem, but I think we'll be okay. Because even though Scizor is really weak to fire, it looks like Rotom's the only Pokemon they have that'll actually do damage to it. So if we can take care of Rotom, we'll be just fine. And I'll have Swampert in the last spot. Regigigas and Weezing are mostly just there to distract the enemy. I don't usually use them unless it's absolutely necessary to do so. More often than not, I just have them on the team to trick people into thinking that I'm going to use them, when in reality I don't often use them at all. Still, I've got a good feeling about this. Really happy you guys have decided to tune in. Hopefully I'll be able to provide some good commentary and show off some pretty cool strategies. I'll explain how my Latias and Zacian combo works in a moment here. Looks like they're going to be setting up Sand, which seems odd. Maybe they're not setting up Sand. It's hard to tell, honestly. Didn't seem like they had a Sand team, but Sand is indeed what the name of the game is for them. I'm not sure what to expect. I do not often see Hippowdon in ranked battles. I do see a lot of Regieleki though. That's not a huge shock. Well, I don't like Sand. It's coarse and it's rough and it gets everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and use Max Scizor on Hippowdon to hopefully do a lot of damage to it. But meanwhile, I'll use Brutal Swing to hit everybody, including Latias. Now, granted, it does do a lot more than I'd like it to. Against Latias, Zacian's Intrepid Sword boosted Brutal Swing takes about a quarter of its health, which is definitely more than I'd like it to take. But, well, despite that, Latias is very bulky, so even if she's taking that much damage, she's usually to hang around for a good while longer. Okay, Regieleki uses Reflected the first chance it gets, which is actually okay, because even though that'll make Zacian do less damage, it's not going to stop the amount of damage that Latias does. And luckily, that small amount of damage will allow Latias to activate... Excuse me, that small amount of damage that Zacian did will ruin any Focus Sashes that any Pokemon might have, so that's really good for us. And awesome, that definitely one-shots. We're definitely on a good start. Obviously, they haven't used their Dynamax yet, and they haven't brought up their lead yet, but that's okay. I think we'll be just fine. Depending on what they bring out next, I may choose to switch out Zacian. I haven't decided yet. Dracovish. Dracovish is definitely a tough one, but it doesn't have any speed buffs right now, so we might be able to knock it out before it does anything to us. Maybe. Does Dracovish get Swift Swim? No, I believe it has Strong Jaw. That's okay. We're going to use Psychic Fangs to get rid of that pesky Reflect and see if we can get some more damage here. Alright, Dracovish uses Protect. Regieleki's probably going to do something. Don't know what yet, though. Light Screen, of course. This is great for us, actually, because I'm about to use Psychic Fangs and ruin both of those screens right now. Perfect. What a fantastic move on our part. We're definitely in a good spot right now. They're down 2 Pokemon and have no screens to protect them. And now we're about to destroy this Dracovish. Well, at least do a lot of damage to it. And lower its attack. Yes, that was a ton of damage despite it being protected. This has been a really good start for us. Now you guys get to see the strategy I tend to use. I tend to see a lot of supportive Latias, so I feel like I'm able to just catch a lot of people by surprise with my my offensive Latias, who holds a weakness policy. She's always my Dynamax lead. Alright, since Rain is already up, I don't have anything to hit super effectively Lugia with super effectively, so I'm going to use Max Scizor on it. And I'm going to use Behemoth Blade on Dracovish, just knock it out. Even though this won't do very much damage, I'm confident it'll do at least enough to knock it out. The battle was cancelled. Okay, that was an excellent first match for us. Definitely, what a good way to start us off. I just hope that our next battles didn't go this well. I'm getting a lot of notifications today, aren't I, Popular? Oh well. Alright, and we're on to our next battle. Still hanging around tier 8, which, once again, new record for us. We've never gotten this far before. I mean, granted, I've never fought this much in ranked battles before. Maybe I'd have confidence to get this high if I had played this much in previous matches, in previous seasons, but I'm not sure. Alright, another Regieleki, another Amoonguss, another Incineroar. So common. I see them all the time. I don't see Kyogre and Tornadus as often, but I definitely know what they're going to do with that. That's absolutely a rain team I'm seeing right now. But it is odd that the only two Pokemon that seem to be taking advantage of the rain are just those two Pokemon. I'm going to assume that that's what their lead's going to be. Very good chance they're going to be starting out with the Kyogre and Tornadus. And since that's probably a Prankster Tornadus, so I imagine what they're going to do is Tailwind. That's no good for us. Because then Kyogre will use Water Spout and do a lot of damage to us. However, we may have a way to deal with this. My Scizor is very especially defensive. So I think for this particular bout, I'm going to take Weezing and Scizor in the first slots. Because Weezing will be able to negate anything they might be planning with their Rain. This is, of course, assuming they're starting with Rain, and I have a feeling they're going to. I'll bring Latias and Zacian in the back. And I'll try and see if I can activate Latias' weakness policy at a later time, but we'll just see what happens. Having a Amoonguss come out first might actually really help us, because Scizor, my Scizor at least, is very defensive and has Swords Dance. I will not get locked into any moves if I use Swords Dance. Oh, I haven't heard this I have not heard this theme on battles in a while. Too bad there's no Reggies in the... Wait, there's Regieleki, never mind. Okay. Okay, I was half right. They did indeed start with Kyogre, but they did not have Tornadus. Well, this is fine. This is completely fine. Without the boost from Rain, Kyogre's Water Spout will not be doing very much damage to us. Although Kyogre is fast, I'd like to be able to knock it down a peg with Bullet Punch, but this Scizor may not be doing very much damage to it with that. Yet, I kind of want to try it. I'm going to see how much damage I can do to it with Bullet Punch, unboosted. Meanwhile, I'll use Flamethrower on Hatsasa? I do not remember that name. I wonder what language that is. I'm not actually sure. I'll use Bullet Punch to knock out a little bit of its health. Not very much, but at least, hopefully, this Water Spout will do less damage to us now. That still did a fair amount of damage, but you know, that might have done a lot more if I was not boosted. And luckily, I get my health back because of the Surge's Berry. Weezing will do a little bit of damage with Flamethrower. Maybe get a burn, that'd be nice. That's okay. And Spore on, I'm assuming, Scizor. Actually, no, Weezing. Okay. I'll admit, I was not expecting that, but that's fine. At least Scizor can live to fight another day. I may not be able to do very much, however. This Scizor has a lot of defense investment, but sadly has very little attack investment. So she's not able to do that much damage, but she can take a few hits. If I hit Kyogre with Bullet Punch again, then Water Spout will do even less, and I might be able to tank it again. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that, although I am assuming, of course, that Amoonguss does not use Rage Powder, which it probably will do. And we'll see what happens. I'm going to hit somebody. Rage Powder, okay. That's fine. We'll still do some damage to it. Although I guess considering the strategy I'm using, it'd probably be better if I used my Choice Band Scizor instead. Maybe. They're off to a pretty good start. But we haven't lost quite yet. And thankfully, they don't have any speed buffs right now, so we still have a chance to win this. Although obviously Amoonguss might be a problem. Maybe. Water Spout obviously does a lot of damage in the rain, but there is something I can count on here. I'm gonna use let's see, Max Mindstorm. Yes, I'll do it on Kyogre. I'm assuming that Amoonguss will probably Spore, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use Brutal Swing. This is my normal strategy. I'll hit all of them, even if it uses Rage Powder, and I'll also activate Latias' weakness policy. Kyogre might Dynamax now, given the circumstances. I have definitely realized that Weezing is probably more of a niche, at least for the goals that I try to accomplish with it. It's a good disruptor sometimes, but it doesn't tend to last very long, and it doesn't deal very much damage. Still, it tends to do fairly well against weather teams, just sometimes it goes better than others, I suppose. Let's see how much the Brutal Swing does. It does, once again, a fair amount to Latias, but at least it also damaged both of the enemies, so if Kyogre uses Water Spout again, I'm not very nervous about it. And Max Mindstorm will connect before Amoonguss does anything else. Thank goodness. I am not a fan of Amoonguss. It's a very difficult Pokemon for me to deal with. But at least we are still behind, but at least we still have both our legendaries. Although, Kyogre might be able to do a lot of damage here. A fair amount, but we're still okay. And they do not have any speed buffs on us yet. Unless they bring out Tornadus. We might be in trouble if they have Tornadus. I have a feeling Tornadus is going to come out. What I was expecting in the first turn was Tornadus and Kyogre. Kyogre would activate Rain, and then Tornadus would use Tailwind, and then Kyogre would just blast his Water Spouts over and over again. That's what I was expecting from the beginning. But, so it was rather shocking that Amoonguss started instead. Had I known that would have happened, I probably would have tried something else. And look at that, Incineroar. I was not expecting that either. Alright, that lowers Zacian's attack back to neutral, but that's actually okay for us. I'm going to max Scizor on Incineroar and get rid of it as soon as I possibly can. For Kyogre, I'm going to use Play Rough and hope I can get some good damage off. I'm not a huge fan of Incineroar, and I want to get it off the field as fast as I can. Kyogre's physical bulk is not incredible, so if Zacian can hit... Oh, okay, I guess Protect is a possibility too. For some reason, I did not expect that. And I guess he forgot about Psychic Terrain. Oops. Thankfully, since Latias... Frankly, Latias cannot be flinched when she's Dynamax anyway, so that worked rather well for us. Although, if Tornadus is their last Pokemon, we might be in trouble. And I have a feeling that's probably what they're going to go with. Sadly, I do not recognize these names. No, Kartana is what they went with. Okay, we might actually have a chance to win this. I'm going to use Max Flare. And then I'm going to use Behemoth Blade. No, I'm going to use Play Rough. And I'm going to go after Kyogre. They haven't actually used their Dynamax yet, which is something I need to keep in mind. With Rain Up, Max Flare is not going to do very much damage. But I don't think that they have very much to use on Latias right now. Sadly, the only thing I can hit neutral on Kartana is Brutal Swing, and I don't want to do any more damage to Latias. I think I'm going to use Play Rough on Kyogre instead. Let's see how much damage Latias can do. Even in the rain, I have a feeling that a Max Flare will do a lot of damage. This is, of course, assuming that Latias attacks first, and I think it might. I cannot remember how fast Kartana is. I know that its physical attack is very, very high, but I also know that its special defense is horrible. So, even with the Rain Up, Max Flare might actually knock it out, and that would be fantastic for us. Zacian goes first. Okay, got some good damage on Kyogre. Knocked out Kyogre. Fantastic. I was not expecting that. Alright, we might be at an advantage here. Max Steel Spike on, I'm assuming Latias. No, Zacian. Why? That's okay. Actually, that's great. For us, anyway. We might actually have a chance to win this still. Zacian might be down, but he did a really good job. Meanwhile, Kartana gets its attack boost, but we're about to use Max Flare. That might do a lot of damage. It did. It did. It did a lot of damage. Fantastic. We one-shotted their Dynamax. They probably were not expecting that Latias to be carrying a Fire-type move, but it was. Oh man, what a way to turn it around. We really dominated that match, guys. Man, I feel like $1,000,000. It's so satisfying to win 2 in a row like that. I really appreciate you guys watching. That'll be all for now. Might as well quit while I'm ahead. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you for checking out these two fantastic battles using my favorite Pokemon. Latias is definitely my favorite. I'm so happy I'm able to use her like this. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next videos. Thank you.